Okay, next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025.
I'm sorry, players. I love Cavill, but I just could not help myself. The voices told me to do it. So ever since the DCU slate was announced in January and Superman Legacy was announced to be coming in 2025, being the first true DCU movie, Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2 are still technically coming through, but honestly, I wouldn't mind sending them straight to Max, or at least scrapping Aquaman 2 and putting Blue Beetle on Max. WB lost so much money with The Flash, even though I fucking love The Flash, and they were already looking at the wings on the table like this, so I need for the bag to be secured to make Superman Legacy as it is intended to be, and this movie would be with a brand new Superman. And since that news has come, people have been, well,
loses their minds.
There have been so many fan castings throughout that time, so many names in the running for who will be the next Superman. As of recently, it seemed we had a couple different pairs of actors who were auditioning to be our new Superman and Lois Lane. We even had one of them being Emma Mackey as potentially Lois Lane, which did not come into fruition, players. But just when I think we lost, the official casting for our new Lois Lane is Rachel Brosnahan, which I didn't know pretty much anything about her. I know she was in the Marvelous Miss Maisel show. I think she is Miss Maisel on Amazon. I haven't watched the show, but I've heard lots of good things about it, so I'm gonna need to check it out, see, you know, what kind of an actress she is. She also just looks the part of Lois Lane, so that's awesome. I can't wait to see how she does. I think under gun, she's gonna do great. It's just hearsay at this point, but I had to bring it up. Again, take it with a grain of salt, but supposedly our Pa Kent will be Brendan Fraser, which, come on guys, okay? That's just Dub City. He'd be so perfect as a man raising a young Clark Kent. That's like 80 plus wholesome points for the movie, okay? But the real deal, our new Superman has been officially cast, and it will be David Corenswet. For whatever reason, I don't really know how to pronounce his last name, and I thought he was British, but he is in fact American. This is the face of the DCU for at least the next 10 years. It all starts with Superman, okay guys? Dude is young as hell at 29. He can carry this franchise if all goes well, of course. You know, no trips to Hawaii for like the next 15 years if he wants to still by then. I wasn't very familiar with David as an actor. All I really knew him from was this clip from the movie where he cast the calm down enchantment on Mia Goth's character.
What did I do wrong?
Nothing. Calm.
Which is a rookie move to cast on a lady. It actually adds 50 plus points to her rage meter. But the point is that look at this mofo, okay? I feel like I'm turning into a 5'2" chick that sells eyelashes here, but come on guys, he's 6'4", dark brown hair, blue eyes like my ball. I can't even believe there were mofos out there saying he wasn't big enough to be Superman. Okay, he's fucking 6'4", in better shape than most of the people on this planet. Just because Henry Cavill is stockier, having been working out a decade longer than David to portray the Man of Steel himself, David literally has like a year, and he's probably gonna get unlimited access to some sweet steroids
Flintstones gummies
to get even more jacked.
We stop. I don't want to have conversations anymore about dudes' physiques.
Dennis,
and whether they can
body mass alone.
That's what I was trying to avoid, a conversation about body mass.
There's also this stupid notion where this is diet Henry Cavill, which, guys, and if you meet somebody like this, remember to remind them that both Henry Cavill and David Corenswet got cast as the same character because, well, they look like fucking Superman. It's a lot of remedial thoughts out there. There's a lot of smooth brain out there, mainly coming from one group, but we'll deal with it as it comes. It was never a big deal to me also, but I always wanted Superman to be physically bigger than Batman, just like in the cartoons. A little nitpick from the last decade, but I can't wait to see this guy in the DCU's version of Metropolis, which I hope is just pure Art Deco greatness. We need more beautiful things to look up to and get inspired by, period. It's still a ways away, but the synopsis so far is that it follows Superman as he reconciles his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. He is the embodiment of true justice and the American way, guided by kindness in a world that sees that as old-fashioned. Now, I absolutely love this, okay? I think because of how iconic Superman is globally, a good Superman film can truly make the world a better place, okay? Or at least have everyone be a little bit less of a dick to one another coming out out of it, which if this movie is as warm as I hope it is, I think it really can, okay? There's nobody on this planet that doesn't know Superman, and this Superman will be thrust in a world where heroes already exist. Again, mofos will say, people eat this shit up when Gunn does it, but when Zack did it, y'all had a problem. That's because we had a problem with the way Zack did it, okay? The whole file shit, a lot of people didn't fuck with. Justice League was a 4-hour incomplete movie Frankenstein together and cut to 2 hours, which led people to have disdain for not having seen the characters prior to the movie in solo films. It also just felt like they were rushing at that period. I think it was a bad move. Up until the 4-hour epic of Zack's film dropped in 2021, which was like, what would that movie even look like at 2 hours? What about even 3 hours, okay? I personally don't think it'd be the same movie. That's why I still have a hard time ranking it in the overall DCEU slate, but I still enjoy the hell out of it. It's really all in the way you do things, okay? This makes sense due to the reset. Again, a lot of people were grilling him for this, but David had said he loved Henry Cavill's dark and gritty take on the character, but most of those people are either Snyder fans, which, hey, more power to them. They love Snyder films and feel passionately about them because Snyder films just hit them different than most people, and they're usually able to disagree rationally and still, you know, be quite calm individuals. A lot of my homies are Snyder fans. I'm a fan of Snyder, but they really have an affinity for Batman vs Superman and Man of Steel and the Snyder cut, so more power to them. But then there comes the dregs of humanity, the purveyors of, you know, smoothness on the brain. You guessed it, players, the Snyder cultists, the people Zack Snyder would be absolutely ashamed of if he witnessed their kind of behavior online. But legit, what I'd say to that is he didn't say anything wrong. Like, even in Man of Steel, which I actually like that movie a lot, I don't agree with some of the character choices or some of the execution. Like, the Twister scene was horrible to me. I get what Zack Snyder was trying to do, but it was just horrible to me. But I also had no problem with him killing Zod, okay? Fuck Zod. He was gonna fucking destroy Earth. The movie is visually and action-wise beautiful, but that's the thing. A lot of people in the cult can't decipher, they can't separate that pretty picture does not equal good movie. I also noticed that a lot of people that are in the Snyder cult will favor movies like The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and say, oh, this is the best movie ever, when it's absolutely fucking not. Again, the thing that ties all those pretty images together, when it's glued together by dog shit, it does not make a good film, unfortunately, and that sucks. That's even a bigger disservice to those beautiful sequences. Getting back to Man of Steel, a lot of it felt very grim. Even in some of the lighter moments in the film, like Superman is supposed to be pure optimism and sunshine and that friend that's always there, and when he's displayed in such a way as it was in Man of Steel and especially in BVS, he just came off for a majority of his screen time as cold. You know, I don't know if it's the way that Zack Snyder lights his films with the shadows and whatnot, which looks badass, but does it lend itself to the feel of Superman? I don't really think so. Like, I had just watched the first episode of Superman and Lois after I don't know how many years, and people tweeting that it was peak. And although these two Superman are at drastically different points in their lives, I think the warmth displayed in the show is the thing that was really missing for me with this Superman, plus the Clark Kent, which was non-existent. Now, personally, I think Cavill was an amazing cast. He looks like Superman ripped from the comics. He just never got his chance to be the fully fleshed out Superman and Clark Kent that he could have been, although I was never too connected to his version of the character just because of, again, some of the execution of his Superman and Clark Kent I felt was just not it. I think Zack Snyder is the GOAT when it comes to visuals, action, and aesthetics, but when it comes to the execution of these characters, it felt almost like an anime or an anime character. Not that anime or anime characters aren't and can't be extremely compelling, because they can be, but in the sense that there's all these epic lines and action and whatnot, it just feels like a lot of this stuff worked better on paper than it did translated to a human performance. A lot of people will say Cavill was the most human because he went through the most realistic trials and tribulations, but even just the way it was executed for me and a majority of other people, it felt flat. Plus, WB hadn't used him for so long that it was like there was really nothing to miss, even with his brief appearance at the end of Black Adam. I fear even if we went down that timeline, we'd probably see Cavill in another underwhelming outing as Superman in a pretty bad film. So I say all that because it sucks when everyone hates the thing you love, so I feel for my homies that will miss the DCEU and Henry Cavill as Superman. Even for some of you wacko cultists, I get the trepidation because although I trust James Gunn fully, I get why others who, you know, Gunn isn't their cup of tea would be hesitant. Gunn has only really worked with the most obscure characters there could be, so there was never any real expectations attached, only up from where he started with those Z-list characters. Superman is a very serious, very well-known IP, so if you change any little thing, if you tweak something, people are going to take notice. So this will be a greater task than we've ever seen Gunn take on before. I think personally he's going to give us a beautiful Superman movie with characters we care deeply about, and we'll all leave the theater feeling a little bit better about each other together and the future of this world, the world of the DCU, and these characters that occupy it that have meant so much to us for all of our lives. I know after Guardians 3, all I wanted to do was tell the people that, you know, I cared about how much they meant to me before, you know, it would ever be too late. But I implore all of you players out there to have some optimism, okay? It's so easy to fall into despair, to be negative about things. When the world around us is falling down, sometimes it's just easier to look up. Sometimes it's all we can do. As I said before, players, I will be getting my DC knowledge up. I just finished Superman American Alien. It's about 7 issues. Great kind of origin slash, I want to say, year 1 or year 2 Superman story. I will be reading more characters that aren't Batman, I promise. But let me know what you think of the castings, guys, whether or not you're hype or not, or still just on the fence. It's a ways away, but it's getting closer every day. That's pretty much it. If you liked the video, leave me a thumbs up, comment down below, and if you want, subscribe. I always appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope all of you guys are well, and I'll see you in the next one.